What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Jimmy, back at you with another episode of Combat and Cryptids. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening this Thursday. We have finally got in the merch it didn't, I say finally got in. It didn't take us that long to get it. It took, I think, about a week and a half to submit it and get it all. So this is the final product, guys. So I got stickers, koozies, and I made shirts, but I don't know if you guys want shirts. It's up to you. This is what the logo looks like if you have not seen it yet. So these are the 3-inch stickers, and then here, I'm gonna stand up. This is gonna look weird, so bear with me. These are the shirts right here. Here's the front. Then that is the back. And they have all different colors. My wife had them done on Etsy. So if you would like one of the shirts, we can talk about pricing. I think they were $24 or something like that. I don't know, somewhere around there. So the quality's nice. The shirts look nice. I like how they turned out. So we will, if you want some of one of I haven't gotten the koozies yet. I think I'll get them sometime next week. But the koozies as well. So if you want, the first 10 people that commented on last week's video, I need you guys to send me your address to combatandcryptids@yahoo.com, so I can go ahead and send those items to you guys. And if you have any questions like that, you can comment in the video, or you can DM me on Instagram, whatever is easier for you, or you can email me. It doesn't matter. If you want the merch, just comment, shoot me an email, whatever it is, and we will figure out how to get it to you. This is just kind of like the start of it, so I don't have a website for it yet or anything like that, because I don't. At the point in time right now, I don't think there's going to be that many people who want it. So I just made some. I got a lot of stickers. I got 25 or 30 of the koozies, or 15 to 25 of the koozies. And I only had 2 shirts made just to see what the quality was like, because I'm not going to pay all that money to get shirts made if they're not good quality. But these are good quality, and I like them. So if you would like some of this or whatever, just shoot me an email, and we will see and go from there. All right? So today, I just want to throw this out there. Today is the anniversary of one of my friends who died. And me and this guy, we were like ride or die friends. His name is Ricky Sugg, and he was a G. We'd seen so many things. Me and this dude had been through combat. We gotten blown up. We were together through all the bullshit and all the good stuff. And I just want to give a shout out to him. Rest in peace. Love you, bro. Miss you, bro. You my boy. And yeah, other than that, I appreciate everyone who's watching the videos, continues to support the new subscribers, all that. I think I get like 3 or 4 a week, which is pretty good. I'm in no hurry to doing this, but we do get 3 to 4 subscribers a week. So I do appreciate all you guys for taking the time, listening to me, whether it's for 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's subject. So the one hot topic that everyone always likes to talk about is Dogman. So we will talk about that one today. And there is a website called Dogman Encounters, and it literally breaks it down by state and by county. It's like Bigfoot, the BFRO, but for Dogman. And we're basically just going to go through some accounts that people have had. And so I have my dog here because the wife and kids are out, and I don't want to close the door because he's going to go insane. So he's like right here. Watch this. Let me see if I can get him to go. I don't think he will, because he's not a jump up. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, Levi. Oh. All right. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Go. Go. No. Go. Go. You're going to pull all my wires. Go. Relax. So he just sits here and he's like, just like play with me, talk to me, do something. But anyways, here's a Dogman right here. This little dude is a heathen. So go, dog. I can't mess with you right now. Anyways, back on subject. So Dogman. Yes, that's what we're going to talk about today. And yeah, so Lyra Radford wrote this story. And then I think the other ones they have, if people remained anonymous, it's not going to tell you who it is. But she wrote this story. And I think I won't read all these because I think I've read some of these before, but some of them are different. So we'll go ahead and read these, and then we will go through the personal encounters that people have put on. The 12 darkly fascinating stories of the Michigan Dogman. What makes the urban legend of the Michigan Dogman so compelling is its plausibility that there have been far more sightings than Bigfoot, who is practically the poster creature for cryptozoology. While there's talk of supernatural origin, there are also more scientific animal based theories for this creature's existence as well. Dogman sightings began in Michigan and then spread with description varying slightly, but the core characteristics remain intact. This can be expected with a growing, migrating, and evolving species. Dogman sightings usually occur deep in the forest around logging camps and out on isolated roads late at night. The mythical beasts of backwoods folklore went mainstream in 1978 after the release of the song The Legend, written by Travis City. Radio DJ Steve Cook pulls lyrics from Dogman encounters, and soon more people reported their sighting. But what are these witnesses actually seeing? Is it mass hysteria or a real creature? Let's explore the history of the cryptid and various horrifying encounters people have had with it. The Michigan Dogman has extraordinary leaping abilities. In the fall of 1986, out near Manistee, Michigan, Ray Greenway was driving home from Manistee Army recruiting station. It was late at night and he noticed something in the dark field beside him. His headlights were oh my god. So we got these Canada wildfires and this air quality here is horrible. Horrible. His headlights were reflecting off what appeared to be eyes, but they were much too high off the ground to be a deer. Suddenly, the unidentifiable creature began running towards him and made an incredible leap, clear across two-lane roads. There is no animal that it could be. I know this was not a deer, Ray later recalled. He went on to describe its yellow eyes and impossible leaping ability. I do remember that I saw both eyes as if it were looking at me the whole time. That, along with the leaping ability, is what I'll never forget. Oh, jeez. Ever since I got that fucking COVID, I just can never stop coughing. All right. The earliest known Dogman sighting was in 1887. In 1887, the first known Dogman encounter was documented in Wexford County, Michigan. Two lumberjacks were out in the woods when they spotted a creature they described as having the body of a man but the head of a dog. Other sightings began to trickle in throughout the upper peninsula of Michigan, and locals found dog tracks in the dirt around several deceased horses. These horses allegedly perished of fright. Jesus Christ. Dogman screams like an infant in the night. One witness claims a creature best described as a werewolf was stalking up the hill behind their house in late fall in 2001. My stepdaughter and I were looking out the French doors to see a creature, black in color, like a bear with haunches and the head of a wolf. While that was the first and only visual, the Cass County, Michigan resident experienced they can still hear it splashing around the 20-acre swamp land at night. Sometimes they can even hear it shrieking. According to them, it has the scream of an infant, loud and hysterical. Dogman incident may have been captured by an OnStar. The famous Dogman OnStar incident occurred in Troy, Michigan back in 2006. A man was driving down the road when suddenly what he described as a great big dog that was standing up appeared before him. He instinctively swerved to miss the creature and ended up running off the road and flipping the vehicle over on one side. He and his passenger were not hurt, and he was able to get assistance through OnStar. The OnStar recording of the conversation that spread across the internet, and you can listen to it in the video. So there's a video link here. I don't think I can play it though. The Michigan Dogman prowls in 10-year cycles, according to the legend. Descriptions of Michigan Dogman has varied over the years, so it's safe to say that if it exists, it's not a lone wolf. These creatures are usually described as having glowing amber or icy blue eyes, the head of a dog with vicious fangs, and a human torso. They can stand up on two legs and are somewhere between 6 and 7 feet tall. They are incredibly fast and allegedly have a horrible scream like howl. According to local legend, the Dogman appears in 10-year cycles. Early sightings of the cryptid were reported all throughout Michigan, however, soon spread to Wisconsin. Alleged sightings have begun to pop up all over the country soon afterwards. Robert Fortney fired at a smiling dogman. Back in 1983, a 17-year-old man named Robert Fortney claimed that while standing near the Muskegon River in Paris, Michigan, he was confronted by a massive black dog. Fortney didn't report his encounter until 49 years later, but he swore the beast reared up its hind legs and stared him down with piercing blue eyes. Terrified, he fired at the creature and it quickly fled. Fortney remained calm, chilled by the event for years to come, however, later stating, "It may be that he was just scared, but I swear the dog was smiling at him." The dogman busted a 13-year-old girl trying to sneak a smoke. That'd be like the worst thing to see, especially if you're already on edge because you gotta hide your smoking. One particular memorable Dogman account came from a 13-year-old girl named Courtney who lived in Reed City, Michigan back in 1993. She decided to sneak out for a cigarette behind her family's house on one winter, and she got the scare of her life. She claimed that a glint of light seeping out from the planks at an old abandoned barn got her attention. She followed its movement, and it dawned on her that something was there. She realized the 6-foot-tall thing hiding in the barn had the head of a dog and was staring right at her. She ran off terrified. Later, her neighbor confirmed that they too saw a creature out in that barn. They described it as a buffalo-sized dog lurking in the barn. The dogman has incredible speed and seems to enjoy darting in front of other cars. Rhonda, a resident of Three Lakes, Michigan, has a dogman encounter in fall of 2009. She was traveling on US 41M with her son when the beast ran across the highway near Tioga Creek. We were very puzzled and thought it might be some mutant wolf and could not figure out what we witnessed. She went on to say the beast ran fairly fast, about 50 feet in front of our truck. It was so strange because the front of it was much higher up than the back, larger than a wolf. She claimed she had never heard of the dogman until after that incident. After reading descriptions and storylines, she was able to confirm for herself that the creature she encountered was, in fact, the dogman. The dogman likes to creep up on people in the night and stare them down. See, that's what I don't get, is why does it... there's not really many reports. I mean, this thing just scares people, I guess. And I have heard stories of the dogman and Bigfoot. So I heard this one story of this guy who was at a rest stop. He's a truck driver at a rest stop. And he basically went off into the woods a little bit and was making a fire for himself to cook food or whatever it is. He was staying there overnight because you can't drive at night. He would already met his hours or whatever it is. And he saw and heard a Bigfoot and a dogman attacking each other and fighting. And one of them, I forget if it was the Bigfoot or the dogman, one of them was basically trying to protect the guy from the other one. So one of them was bad. So people do say that the dogman is more of just like a creeper, like a watcher. He doesn't really attack people, and he kind of protects you from like Bigfoot or other cryptids or anything bad that's going to happen to you. That's at least, I mean, it scares the shit out of you, yes, but most of them aren't ever of like people being attacked, I guess. There's not really many reports of people being attacked, just a lot of people who see them. And I thought that was a little weird how everyone always sees this thing and it's so terrifying, it's so big, but it never ever attacks anybody or chases them down or like tries to hurt them or show force. It's more just like, I'm just here to scare you from, and maybe the thing is trying to scare you and get you away from something he knows like you're going to be in danger with. Yeah, and you never know. It could be something like that. So while driving on an isolated road in Lansing, Michigan area in May 2006, a man named Ron slowed down for what he thought was a deer. All of a sudden, a human-like hand, except much larger than a normal man's hand, reached over the edge of the hill, and this huge silhouette came into view. What came out of the darkened hillside was a massive man with a wolf-like face. It was much larger than a normal man, and it had a wolf like face and its eyes reflected in my headlights. It just sat there and looked across the field on the other side of the road, and then it just very calmly turned its head and looked right at me. Do you guys hear this dog? This is why I closed the door. Because he has like squeaker toys and he just messes with them. Dogman is a super stealthy. At first, Chuck thought he spotted a moose as he approached the Nestoria Road in Barga County, Michigan. It was a bit foggy and dewy that early morning in 2011, but Chuck knew he saw movement just off the edge of the road into the woods. He stopped at the intersection, waited, watched, and nothing happened. As soon as he picked up the speed to leave, the creature reemerged. Immediately, this animal ran out of the woods in front of my car and jumped across the road to the south side. I mean, it took 3 long strides and was gone, almost like it vanished through an invisible wall. In a state of shock, he observed the creature. He'd never seen anything like it. It was on all fours and he had back legs like those of a large man. It had jet black fur and looked like a very large wolf other than the back legs and human like rump. There was no tail. The profile of the head and snout was that of a wolf. It didn't make a sound. There are scientific theories as to its origin. Clearly, the most obvious explanation is one believes the creature does exist, and is that they are simply an undiscovered breed of wild canine. Many have claimed that Dogman is actually a prehistoric wolf similar to the Amarok or that is a dog coyote hybrid. Assuming these sightings are genuine, it is also possible that normal creatures of abnormal size are being misidentified or that multiple creatures are being wrongfully labeled as the same creature. This theory would account for most witnesses describing a wolf-like animal, while every so often someone claims it looks like a massive, malformed member of the bear family. So, that's the first part of it. So that just kind of gives you, I guess it gives you some context and some background. And I did do one Dogman one. I did my story of what I thought was the Dogman or what I saw when I just joined the Marine Corps to the prairie. So I have did a video on that one, and then I did another Dogman one that went over a lot of different stories and stuff like that. And this one will be kind of similar. So this one gave you a little more context, a little more background about it. So yeah. So basically, we're gonna go through all of these different counties and see what people have normally seen and or heard. Hold on. All right. Let's try this again. So, Mackinac County, Michigan encounter. Normally, I am carrying a 10 millimeter handgun on my belt wherever I go. On this day, I was heading to my doctor's office for lab work, so I did not put my firearm and holster on my belt, but I did bring it in my truck. Due to the road construction, I was taking a back road to town. As I turned down the road, I noticed something about half a mile up the road. Into a field on the other side, it looked canine. As I approached the area, I slowed down to have a look. Standing in this field was the largest wolf I had ever seen. And there are 2 different packs of wolves that run these areas between where I live and the town where my doctor's office is. I'm very familiar with wolves, so much so that me being curious about it isn't it is an anomaly itself. But I was so curious about this huge wolf that I just had to stop to get a picture with my phone. Everyone, please understand that for some reason I'm not in my right mind at this point. I'm never curious about wolves, even such huge wolves. I would not leave my truck to get a picture, yet here I find myself grabbing my phone, shutting off my truck, and walking out in the field to get a picture. I cannot describe what was going on in my head at the moment. All I knew is that I needed to get a picture up close. The wolf moved behind this huge set of bushes. I couldn't see through them at all, so I veered to my right to circle the bushes to get my picture. As I came around the bushes, I came face to face with this wolf. It's about 5 or 6 feet away from me. I stop moving, and somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm hearing the words, get the picture. As I raise my phone, the wolf growls, and somehow I feel like I understood the growl. This was a warning growl to tell me I needed to back off. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end. I snapped out of whatever was going on, shoving my phone into my pocket. I say very loudly, if you want to get hostile with me, buddy, then I have a little something for you. I reach for my pistol, which is always on my side. I grab air. I run my hand along the belt looking for it. My eyes aren't leaving this wolf. It's not there. Then it occurs to me that I didn't put it on my belt because I was driving to a gun free zone to have lab work done. It's in my truck. Purposefully, I turned and walked to my truck. My adrenaline is racing. My instincts are screaming at me to run as fast as I can. But my brain is telling me this wolf is bigger than I am. I'm 6'4", 6'4", 300 pounds. Not the most fit, not the most fit, but definitely strong enough to contend with a normal wolf in a pinch. This thing made me feel small, and that running will trigger that predatory instinct. If I run, I won't make it to my truck. I reach my truck and grab the handle, casting a glance over my shoulder. I see the wolf standing with its front legs on the gravel right across the road from me. I knew that it hadn't let me get further away than that particular distance. I hopped into my truck, slammed the door, and reached under my center console for my pistol. As I drew it from the holster, I can see a huge nose in the corner of my eye, about the center of my driver's side window. I also realized that I have never chambered a round into the firearm that morning. The full weight of my suit. I got a sense that his wolf was amused by the look on its face. Its posture, the eyes, those damn eyes were so human like that I could read this creature's emotions. It was fully amused while equally curious as to why a thin skinned and squishy creature such as a human would actually walk right up to it on purpose. I started my truck, put it in drive, and gently pushed the gas pedal. I knew it wasn't going to hurt me, mock me, yes, hurt me, no. As I started driving away, moving in my rearview mirror caught my eye. The wolf had turned and started walking back into the field on its two hind legs. Anonymous, January 2016. Jesus Christ, 2016, eh? That's crazy. Whew. I never saw it, but in 1975, I was newly married, about 21 years old, and had a small baby. My sister, who was a teenager, was visiting us. My husband, my sister, and I had all gone to our bedrooms to. Wait, what? You guys slept? Oh, I guess it is 19. In 1975, did women and men sleep separately? There's no way. No, I don't think. That just sounded weird. We all gone to our bedrooms to settle down and go to sleep. I would say it was around 11 or 12 at night. We were just starting to relax and get sleepy when out of nowhere, there was this horrible, loud howl slash yell. I mean, it was so loud it made my chest vibrate and my ears hurt. The sound was not human, but had a guttural, human like sound, mixed with what sounded like a wolf. We were living in a mobile home at the time, and it howled just outside of our back door, in the hallway near our bedroom. We jumped out of bed, looked at each other, and both said at the same time, "What the hell was that?" My husband was 10 years older than I was, and I was an avid hunter. He wasn't the kind of guy to scare easily. His face drained of color. My sister came running down the hallway, white as a ghost, and said, "What was that?" I told her I didn't know. My husband said he was getting his rifle and grabbed it out of the closet. He opened up the back door and yelled into the wind, "You better get your out of here, or I'll blow your head off." He listened a moment. Before I yelled at him to please shut the door, he did, and we never heard any more after that. Needless to say, we stayed up all night we stayed up all night afraid to go to sleep. I have never forgotten that howl. Oh, there is no way it was a dog or coyote. I have heard both. It wasn't a guy joking around either. It was so loud, there is no way a human could have made those sounds. I love your. Oh, shit. Never mind. What the heck is that? I love your show, and I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one who has heard of something like this. That's crazy. Levi, go, bro. Uh oh. We just lost internet connection. What's going on here? Well, we're about to cut this one short, eh? This is why I need to print these damn things off. Doom 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 doom. Let's see. Back to Michigan. I don't know why that did that. That was weird. My encounter happened in February 2009. In November 2008, I broke my arm and was basically stranded at home. I was unable to drive or work and was going stark raving mad with boredom. My best friend would drive the 35 miles north from Muskegon to pick me up in Shelby, just to take me back to the Muskegon for a visit at her home. She'd take me to dinner or out to see a movie, only to deliver me home to Shelby after whichever activity. It was truly a selfless act of love. One night she was driving me home. It was very late, well, after 11 p.m. We were on US 31 northbound, around the Rothbury area of Oceana County on the expressway. Being February in Michigan, the roads were naturally snowy, with scattered patches of ice and bare pavement. There was a small pickup truck and in front of us, about 5 car lengths ahead of her, when all of a sudden we saw something on 2 legs dart out from left, just in front of an overpass. It ran across 2 lanes of highway and hit the back of the small pickup in the rear quarter panel, causing the pickup to fishtail. Luckily, the driver of the small pickup regained control, but they didn't stop to see what collided with their truck. If anything, it seemed to pick up speed and get the heck out of there. My friend and I watched in utter astonishment as the creature finished running to the right and disappeared into the weeds and trees along the highway. It didn't even break stride after it hit the truck. We looked at each other, sat in silence for a moment, and then I said, "Did you see that?" She said, "Yeah, I saw it." We finished the ride to my house in silence, both lost in our thoughts. It looked like a giant dog or wolf. It was on its hind legs, not on all fours, and it was at least 7 feet tall. It had pointed ears, a kind of mane around the neck, much like a lion's mane, was dark in color, and its hind legs looked like a dog's, which was even more pronounced as it was running only on its hind legs. Its front legs were freely swinging as it ran, and it seemed to have its mouth slightly open. It had an elongated face, very much like a collie face, and a long nose protruding from its face. Its face was covered by longish hair. The entire creature seemed to be covered in long hair, but I can't recall if it had a tail. Something tells me it did, but I can't recall for certain. So I don't want to say it did, when in fact I'm not sure. We thought perhaps it may have been one of the Michigan dogmen that are said to be in our area. Being a former Native American area, we have heard the stories but have never met anyone that had a first hand encounter. It was always someone who knew someone who knew someone who saw something. But now, my best friend and I definitely saw it. We had a first hand experience. Our encounter was brief and over in a matter of mere moments, but it was front and center of us, and we saw it clear as a bell. Jeez. Saginaw County, Michigan. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. So where is it? Another one. Another area. Let's look at another area. So I wonder what Florida has. There we go. I'm from Florida. Then we might as well. Oh wow, there's not a lot of them. Leon, Polk, and Sarasota County. This one's in Leon County, Florida. Okay, I'm sharing this story in hopes of someone else having another one. I had then I then will have this one out in the open. I was traveling Highway 10 from the west coast to the south coast of Florida. I was with my 6 kids and pulling a trailer with all of my belongings and 3 dogs in it. I was in a big SUV and it was around 2 a.m. The kids were all asleep and my 13-year-old daughter was in the passenger seat to make sure I stayed awake. So after traveling Highway 10 for 3 days, I had decided since we reached Florida, we would cut through the state to save some time. So we got off the Highway 10 and on an off road in hopes of getting gas and making up some time. It was along Route 27, Apalachicola, Apalachicola National Forest. We came to the first little gas station. It was closed. I was nervous because we needed gas. So we continue on. I told my daughter to keep an eye out for deer crossings, crossing the 2 lane deserted highway, because hitting a deer could kill us all and turn us over due to the trailer we were pulling. We were traveling around 45 miles per hour. I remember this so clearly like it was yesterday, but it was 3 years ago. We had our brights on because the road was dark and winding. A few houses were on that highway, but not many. As we came around a corner in the headlights on the road, there was a lot of blood, fresh blood. And on the side of the road with this 6 or 7 foot tall creature, it was on its hind legs hunched over a dead deer eating it. It did not look up, not even when my headlights hit it. It was using its arms like a human, eating the deer. It had a very muscular body, pointed pointed ears, and a long muzzle. If you ever saw a werewolf, this was it. It had a skinnier lower body, but used its arms and hands just like a human, and it looked up. I would have died. I looked over at my daughter. We were both seeing the same thing at the same time. The tears came to my eyes instantly, and at the same time, we both said, werewolf. I sped up because I was scared it would run and jump on the trailer and kill my dogs. As we got about a mile away, my heart was beating so hard. My daughter and I were so freaked out. It was a werewolf. I had never been a believer in werewolves. I don't watch any werewolf movies and or have any reasons to make this up. And as a matter of fact, until today, I have only told a handful of people about this. There's a werewolf in Florida. Not sure of the exact town or road, but I wish I did know so I could find out if we were the only ones that have seen this thing. I will live my life wondering. It was between Alabama to Florida along the panhandle. I will never forget this night. Ever. Jesus Christ. That's the worst of it. Like those night ones, jeez, I don't know about that. Those are creepy as shit. Okay. So I'm just gonna start off by saying this. This isn't my personal encounter. This happened to my mother and uncle when they were children. I know that the three of the encounters were shared with me in rich detail have all been in the years that ended with a seven. That is no way in referencing the song by Steve Cook. The encounter I'm about to tell you happened in Lakeland, Florida in 1977. My mom was 6 and my uncle was a few years younger than her. My grandparents were passing through and a friend of theirs let them spend the night in a vacant house that their friends owned. I'm guessing this was in the spring or summer because the windows were wide open. With the bug screens on the window, my grandmother was out in the front of the house taking care of my youngest uncle, who was still a baby. My grandfather was reportedly using the bathroom at the time. My mom and uncle were in the back room playing. She said the window that was in the room was very high. Imagine a window that would be in the basement, except it was an upper floor window. If we were outside, the window could have been 10 to 12 feet off the ground, so the window was pretty high. My mom said that she and my uncle were playing. A huge, hairy paw with long claws reached up to the window and grabbed the screen. It then dragged its claws down diagonally across the screen. Needless to say, they were scared poopless. They thought it was my grandfather just playing a cruel prank on them. So they barged out of the room and headed straight in the front of the house. They found my grandmother and demanded to know where my grandfather was. She said he was in the bathroom, but the two of them didn't believe her. So they marched to the bathroom, opened the door. When they did, my grandfather was sitting there on the toilet in the middle doing his business. The window in the bathroom was similar to that of the room that the two had been in. So, in all honesty, he wouldn't have had time to climb out the window, climb back up, and get back on the toilet. My grandparents both thought the two of them were just freaking out about nothing at the time. My grandma said she remembered the pair being horrified, though. So they went out the next morning, and what do you know? There were scratches on the outside of the wall of the house, and the window screen was torn up. I'm 17 now. My mom is 46. So this was a long time ago when this happened. Even though it's been such a long time, whenever my mom tells this story, she gets scared and terrified talking about it, what she saw. So there's almost no refuting what she saw and the things she described. Jesus Christ. And the last one, Sarasota County, Florida. Oh, this is a little short one. I'm from Northport, Florida. We have 12 miles reserve called Carlton Reserve. See, those damn preserves are rough, especially in Florida. I was out there messing around with some friends. They went off ahead of me to go mudding. I was at a tree line taking a leak in the marshy field in front of me. I noticed a figure in the field. He was very coyote-like. He was tannish gray in color and very lanky and tall. He was crouched over eating a boar. That's a hog. I got the bright idea to yell, so I did. As I did, his ears perked up and I realized what I was looking at. He must have seen me because he looked around for a little and continued to eat. He must not have seen me. Okay, that makes more sense. The whole encounter lasted about 5 minutes. I'm not sure what I saw, but it was something I have never seen before. And I've been living here for 16 years, my whole life. Jesus Christ. So that's Florida. We hit Michigan. Let's see. Well, we're living in Ohio now. So let's see what Athens County, Ohio's got. My girlfriend and I were driving down the remote county road in the early summertime, late one evening. She was the one driving and I was the passenger seat. The sun was setting behind us. We had just come around a curve when two does jumped out onto the road in front of us. They acted like we weren't even there. They seemed to be focused on something else. She jammed on the brakes and brought the car to a stop. I told her, "Man, that was close." Then when I looked up in the rearview mirror to see if any more deer were coming, when I did that and a red glow on the car taillights, I saw something take a big step into the road from the brush that was on the other side of the road. Whatever it was landed on its right leg. When it did that, look at it in the rearview mirror, I could see it from its mid-thigh up to its stomach. In one motion, it then took another step forward and put what looked to be a hand down on the trunk of the car to apparently balance itself. When I saw that, I turned to look at my girlfriend. She was wide-eyed. Her mouth was wide open, and she was white as a ghost. I could also see her eyes were tearing up. So I looked back, but by that time, it had already gone across the road. In an attempt to get a better look at this thing, I opened my door and got out of the car. When I looked, I could see that it was going down the embankment that was on the side of the road because of the brush. I could only see it from the armpits up. It was at least 7 feet tall and had very wide shoulders. Its shoulders were at least 1.5 times as wide as my shoulders, and I've got wide shoulders for a guy. From the last bit of daylight left, I could see that it was black or dark brown in color and had pointed ears on top of its head, like a dog. Its ears weren't overly wide or fuzzy. Its head was kind of dome-shaped, more or less, with flat sides. It acted like we weren't even there and seemed to remain focused on the deer. I was thinking, what in the world is this thing? It looked like some kind of a werewolf or wolfman to me. It was way too big to be a person through the whole ordeal. I never did get a chance to see its face. In the area where we saw that thing, people have reported being paced in their vehicles, going down the road by creatures that looked like what we saw. Jesus Christ. I just like the name of this. Trumbull County, Ohio. Jesus Christ. Alrighty, and this will probably be the last one to wrap us up, people. I saw something on Monday night that still has me totally shaken to my very core. I have always loved nature. I love the woods. I love hiking and camping, fishing. I'm really into mycology. So I'm out looking for, oh, that's the study of mushrooms and fungus, I guess, whenever I get a chance. The weather was absolutely beautiful on Monday. For the first time of the year, so towards evening time, I decided to go round up some of my walleye gear and head to an old train trestle crossing the Mahoning River in Niles, Ohio. I had parked my car about a mile and a half from the trestle so I could walk the tracks and hit a few other spots along the river. On my way down there, by the time I reached the trestle, it was pretty much dark. I was wearing a headlamp, and at this time, so depending on the light source at this location, there's a lake directly across the river, which the two are connected by a small overhead dam. I was there for 15 minutes when all of a sudden this overwhelming feel of dread came over me. I switched my headlamp on to turn around to start back up the riverbank. And right before a big sycamore tree, I saw what looked like to be a very large animal kind of kneeling beside her and behind it. As I locked my eyes on it, I completely froze. I knew I was definitely seeing something there, but my mind couldn't process it. What I was looking at didn't make any fucking sense. The thing that I kept seeing was myself. The thing that I kept saying to myself was animals aren't supposed to look like that. Right as I'm thinking right as I'm thinking this, it's as if the thing read my mind, stood up and made itself perfectly visible in the most pretentious way. It almost had the vibe like, yeah, now you see me. You know I'm real. I definitely exist. What are you going to do about it? And as soon as it happened, it kind of hunched over and made its way into the brush. I was out of there like a flash. As soon as my feet hit the tracks, I ran and ran the entire way back to the car without stopping. By the time I reached my car, I couldn't breathe. Both my legs were locked up. I was vomiting, and somewhere in between the encounter and running away, I had pissed myself. It's early Friday morning now, and I think I've only slept for about 6 to 7 hours altogether. I've been constantly searching YouTube on all kinds of stuff, listening to eyewitness accounts. It sounds like these things are encountered quite often. I've heard of the Dogman before, but never really took it seriously. Before the night of this encounter, I would always picture a dogman to look like little skittish coyote looking creatures. Man, I love the woods and I love nature. The woods for me always have been a safe haven I could venture into. The escape stress at work, bills, relationship problems, I could always take a nice long hike, go fishing or foraging, and come home feeling 75% better. Now I feel like I was threatened and kicked out of my second home. The only thing I can keep thinking is these things aren't supposed to exist. I feel like a terrified little kid who just came face to face with the dreaded monster in the closet. You know, the monster your parents told you not to wait, told you, no, wait, assured you wasn't real and couldn't hurt you. People need to be made aware of this. As they are as real as it gets, and they are dangerous. Thinking back to what this thing looked like and how it was built, these things are perfectly adapted killing machines. The way the arms and legs looked, it looked like it was perfectly adapted to walk on all fours as well as on two legs. It was so quiet and fluent with its movement. Also, it's not like in the movies where the monster comes charging out of the woods, growling and snarling. These things are masters of camouflage, and they utilize the darkness perfectly. I didn't notice a smell from it, probably because the wind was on my back at this time, but it sure smelled me. Its nose was up and in the air the whole time our encounter, just sniffing away. This experience has torn a huge hole in me. Every time I eat, I get nauseous. I can't sleep for more than 20 minutes at a time. Every time I close my eyes, that thing is all I can see. I'm trying not to dwell in fear. I'm trying to accept what I saw and what had happened, but it's hard. I'm really glad I found this group and found a few things on YouTube. So, no, I'm not alone. Anonymous. 12/26. That's a day after Christmas, 2016. So yeah, Dogman encounters. Like this is a good. This I like this guy's what this guy's got set up. It's nice. He's got a podcast, everything. You can report your encounters, all kinds of stuff. There's definitely, Jesus Christ, there's so many of them. So many. There's one for each state, and you can just submit your encounter. That's insane. It's insane that that's been in that many states. The only ones that don't have encounters are, well, it's like Connecticut, Delaware, Mississippi, New Jersey, North Dakota, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, Vermont, and Wyoming. So that's what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 40 states have had encounters of some sort. That's crazy. So yeah, I mean, the Michigan Dogman. That's where it all stemmed from. That's where it's all started. It's pretty crazy to hear these encounters. I have done two other podcasts about my own personal experience. So if you want to go watch those, and also I have talked about other Dogman encounters, which are pretty wild in themselves. So if you would like to go check those out, I'd much appreciate it. But here, this is another one, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Also, remember the merch. If you guys want any stickers or the koozies, or if you want to buy a t-shirt, the only thing that I'm probably going to sell is the t-shirts because they're so expensive. So if you want one, let me know. Send me an email. My email address is combatandcryptids@yahoo.com. And I'll leave a tag in the post for this as well. So, but if you have any questions and you want the stuff, just let me know. Instagram, email, in the comment section, whatever it is. We'll figure it out. We'll take care of it. And then we will go from there. So, yeah, other than that, everybody have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful time for your weekend. Enjoy. Be kind to everybody. Be nice. And I will see you guys next